Hi guys! How are you today? Welcome back to my channel, Adventures in America. If you are new to my channel, my name is Jocelyn and I'm a dual citizen of the United States and the Philippines. A lot of things that we are going to talk about today, but first of all, there was a new issuance of a resolution from the Interagency Task Force. It's Resolution number 117, and also there are newer press releases from the Bureau of Immigration, and I'm going to go ahead and discuss these new updates with you today. In addition, we are also going to discuss the current travel restrictions, who are the eligible passengers allowed, the current travel health protocols, and the expected changes that might happen come June 1st. However, this new resolution does not outline new travel restrictions. A new priority group for vaccination is being implemented. Let's go ahead and check the new priority groups for vaccination. There are certain classifications of Filipinos that are now moved into A1 category. Overseas Filipino workers for deployment within the next 4 months are now moved into A1. Also, the family members of healthcare workers are also now moved into A1 priority group. Now, there are also 3 groups that have been moved to A4. Private sector workers required to be physically present at their designated workplace outside of their residences. Also, employees in government agencies and instrumentalities, including government-owned and controlled corporations and local government units, and informal sector workers and self-employed who may be required to work outside their residences, and those working in private households. So those who are in the A4 category must be in the following geographical areas: National Capital Region, and this includes Metro Manila, Bulacan, Pampanga, Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, Rizal, Metro Cebu, and Metro Davao, and workers from all other areas. It's also an establishment of new guidelines for staycation hotels. There are requirements for staycation hotels that are accredited by the Department of Tourism. First, they can go with 100% capacity, and they can waive the requirement of testing for guests as long as the guests that are coming to their places are those who are 18 to 65 years old. Another guideline in this resolution is that accommodations accredited by the Department of Tourism under the General Community Quarantine Classification areas can accommodate up to 30% of the venue capacity as long as the guests are all in the same household. This is another good news from the Bureau of Immigration. As of May 28, they are hiring 100 Bureau of Immigration personnel to be deployed at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport to accommodate the influx of passengers in line with the Philippines' reopening plans before the end of this year. Morente said the bulk of the new Bureau of Immigration inspectors will be deployed to the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, the country's premier port. We are hoping that our international flight operations will gradually return to normal before the year ends, following the government's aggressive vaccine campaign. As the country begins to reopen its economy, perhaps so too will our borders reopen slowly, Morente said. Take note that foreigners for tourism purposes coming to the Philippines are not yet allowed. These are foreigners who do not have immediate family relatives such as a spouse or a Filipino child, and also foreigners who are just visiting to see family and friends, and those who have fiancés in the Philippines. They are not yet allowed to enter. Also, we are not sure if foreign tourists will be allowed on June 1st, so we are still expecting some changes, but it's probably not an abrupt change allowing foreign tourists by June 1st. So I'm not expecting that in the coming few days. Also, there is a travel ban in place until May 31st, and I'm not sure if it's going to be extended or it's just set to expire by May 31st. So here is the travel ban in place. All passengers coming from or who have been to India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Oman, and the United Arab Emirates within the 14 days preceding their arrival in the Philippines. These are not allowed entry until May 31st. The current travel restrictions still allow Filipinos, whether an overseas Filipino worker or non-overseas Filipino worker, as long as they are holding a valid Philippine passport, they can enter the Philippines. Also, former Filipinos or those who have been naturalized in a foreign country, whether they are traveling alone or together with their foreign spouse or foreign children, they are allowed entry and can stay up to 1 year in the Philippines visa-free. For those who are former Filipinos, you can actually apply for a dual citizenship in the Philippines. You can apply at the Bureau of Immigration while you are in the Philippines taking your vacation. Dual citizens can also travel even if you don't have your valid Philippine passport, as long as you bring your US or foreign passport and your dual citizenship documents. There are actually 3 pages. Also, for dual citizens, there was a public advisory issued on April 21st, and you needed to provide an additional proof of Filipino citizenship, such as a PSA or NSO birth certificate. Now, here are the foreign nationals allowed entry in the Philippines as of this time. There are actually 3 categories of foreign nationals allowed entry in the Philippines. Number 1, foreign nationals who have valid and existing visas at the time of entry. Another type of foreign nationals are those under the Balikbayan visa program, provided that the country is listed under Executive Order number 408. There are 2 categories of these foreign nationals. First, former Filipinos, and second, foreign spouses and their children, as long as the former Filipino or the Filipino is traveling with a foreign spouse or the foreign child or children. The third category of foreign nationals allowed are those holders of valid and existing Special Resident Retirees Visa or SRRV, and also holders of a 9A visa, provided that they have an entry exemption document issued by the Department of Foreign Affairs. Now, let's talk about the standard health protocols. Currently, Philippines is implementing that passengers must wear a face mask and a face shield. And also, you must register through the Trace app mobile application for contact tracing. In addition, you needed to register through the ECIF depending on your airline. So if you are a passenger of Philippine Airlines, you needed to register to the ECIF of PAL. And also, if you are flying through other airlines or a foreign airline, you needed to register through the PAD lab. Let's talk about the requirement of a face shield. There was something in the news stating that the Philippines must rethink its face shield requirement for inbound passengers or for all passengers leaving or departing or arriving in the Philippines. What do all countries that have controlled COVID have in common? They never required face shields, Dr. Gideon Lasco, a medical anthropologist, said in a recent post on social media. It's time to end the Philippines' baseless, inconvenient, and environmentally harmful face shield mandate, especially in outdoor spaces where there's zero evidence of its benefit, said Lasco, who also writes a column in The Inquirer. What do you think of the face shield requirement? Let me know in the comments section below. In essence, here are the requirements for entering the Philippines. First, you needed to adhere to the standard health protocols such as wearing of a face mask and the face shield, and register through the Trace app mobile application for contact tracing. Also, you needed to fill out the ECIF. If you are a PAL passenger, they have a separate ECIF. And also, if you are a passenger other than Philippine Airlines, or if you are flying through a foreign airline, you needed to register through the PAD lab for COVID testing. If you are an overseas Filipino workers, you are not required to pay for your swab test or hotel quarantine. In addition, starting May 8th, all inbound passengers are required to pre-book a hotel or quarantine facility for 10 days, and the remaining 4 days will be home quarantine. and you will be tested on the 7th day. Also, you cannot get out of your hotel unless it's on the 10th day of your arrival. In addition, there's also a requirement of an acceptance letter from the local government unit or from the barangay. Also, there is a restriction to your movement based on your age. Currently, under the general community quarantine level, those who are 18 to 65 years old are allowed to go out. And if you are below 18 or more than 65 years of age, you cannot go out unless it is essential. As of this time, all inbound passengers are required to quarantine for 14 days. The first 10 days will be required in a quarantine facility or accredited hotel, and the next 4 days will be a home quarantine, and you will be tested on the 7th day, and the release will be given on the 9th day of your arrival. So you can only get out of your hotel on the 10th day. Now, there is a proposal for a green lane for those who are fully vaccinated. But the question is, how can the government tell if a person is fully vaccinated and which vaccines are they going to accept? There is a proposal to reduce the quarantine for those who are fully vaccinated from 14 to 7 days. However, will you be still required to quarantine in an accredited hotel, or can you still do like the home quarantine for 7 days if this is going to push through? There are a lot of things that we are expecting to change by June 1st. Will foreign tourists be allowed entry in the Philippines? And also, will fully vaccinated passengers be allowed to quarantine for less than 14 days? Or are they still required to book a hotel for 7 days if this is going to be implemented? Also, how can we know if a passenger has been fully vaccinated and which vaccines are going to be allowed or approved for quarantine purposes? Also, will the government remove the entry exemption documents for foreign spouse and for those holders of a 9A visa or SRRV visa? Also, will the travel ban of these 7 countries be lifted on June 1st? There are a lot of things that needed to be addressed by the Philippine government, but I don't think the opening of the borders will happen on June 1st. But we can see some signs that the Philippine government is preparing to reopen in the coming months, such as by the deployment of new immigration officers or by the aggressive vaccine rollout. But one thing is for sure, the community quarantine level is going to change by June 1st because the Philippine government has been imposing community quarantine levels every 15 days on different areas. Also, if you recently traveled in the Philippines or the United States, please share your travel experience, such as which airline did you fly into, what requirements did you bring, and what type of passenger are you? Are you a former Filipino or a dual citizen, or you are a foreign spouse or a foreign child? So let me know in the comment section below, how was your experience traveling in the Philippines, and what are the things that you have noticed or observed regarding these travel restrictions? If you can also specify the area, I would really appreciate it sharing your travel experience. And also, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I always welcome new subscribers. Thank you guys for watching. I hope everyone is staying safe and have a great day.